Anchor Home presents the News Hour at 9 with Arnab Goswami.
National Spokesperson, Member of Parliament, NCP, and Sudhindra Bhadoria of the BSP completes the panel tonight. Pavan, Verma, we have disagreed in our last interaction on the political response to what has happened in Uri. But you must, we played that intercut between Manmohan Singh and Sushma Swaraj out there. And what it appeared to me was the pleading, weak, unsure, almost submissive tone of former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, which, by the way, happened after 5 Indian soldiers were ambushed in Poonch just weeks before that. And then he was pleading, that tone. And look at the tone of Sushma Swaraj. Is that contrast not obvious to you, sir? Would you do a rethink on your own criticism of the government's foreign policy after Sushma Swaraj's speech? Pavan Verma begins the debate and Seshadri Chari responds. After that, it's an open debate. Please go ahead. Pavan Verma, please.
Arnab, first I'd like to comment on Sushma Swaraj's speech. I would like to give it plus points for 3 reasons. One is that I think she rightly maintained the asymmetry between India and Pakistan by also speaking of many other subjects which befits a global power, India, which is a much bigger power, and resisted the attempts of Pakistan to equate India in a spiral of acrimonious tutu meme. She dealt with terrorism. She held Pakistan to be on the dock on terrorism, but her speech also included many other elements which should be flagged by a country like India. Secondly, I think she addressed the international community on terrorism while mentioning Pakistan's role in it by saying that the threat of terrorism to India, when it is sponsored as a state instrument of policy by Pakistan, is a threat to the globe itself, to the international arena. And I think that is the right argument that India must put in order to isolate Pakistan on the issue of terrorism. Thirdly, I think by making the point that terrorism is the biggest violator of global human rights, she made the point that a terrorist state like Pakistan must inevitably, therefore, violate human rights internally, and in that context referred to Baluchistan.
Sir, your ally...
The point that you raised about the rather clever juxtapositions you put of Manmohan Singh and Sushma Swaraj, I think you must take into account the context of it. This was a speech being made after the outrage of Uri.
Sorry, I disagree.
After the outrage of Pathankot, and therefore I think that Sushma Swaraj set the right tone.
Sir, I disagree.
If you were to give examples of whether Mr. Manmohan Singh was pleading less, let us say, affirmative and firm and strong and vociferous, I can give you umpteen examples where Mr. Narendra Modi, also in circumstances where he need not have done so, has gone to Pakistan in spite of ceasefire violations going up and not down. And I can quote you examples starting from his swearing-in ceremony to his air dash from Afghanistan to Lahore, and to many other meetings on the sidelines of international summits, even as Indian soldiers were being martyred by an increase in cross-border terrorism from Pakistan. So this kind of politics today being played out by comparing Congress and BJP,
why not?
I think is exceptionally partisan. It is irrelevant and out of context.
One second. Sir, please. You can call it out of context. Please don't call it partisan. Because the contrast is this, then we'll have to factually address the issue. Sorry, no, 1 second. Then we have to factually address the issue. I said, and it is my view, that Manmohan Singh's foreign policy position towards Pakistan was meek with a capital M. Now they are your allies, the Congress, and hence you will have to go with them. The Congress today had a press conference in which they called the government's foreign policy Jumla.
About Atul Bihari Vajpayee.
Okay, we are getting...
Just give me a riposte. Just let me give you one answer to that.
Sir...
Prime Minister Modi's rhetoric in 2014, before he came to power on Pakistan, and his subsequent actions in the 2.5 years that he has been in power, would make Mr. Manmohan Singh shine with a new sense of consistency in terms of approach to Pakistan.
I seem to have
made towards Pakistan has been
I let Mr. Chari. No, you made a couple of points tonight. The debate is open. You made a couple of points. You said there were inconsistencies in Narendra Modi's own foreign policy. Seshadri Chari will respond to that. But to the contrast that I laid out tonight, and you're calling it partisan, I put a serious objection tonight, Pavan Verma, because the contrast is important. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. 1 second. Let me complete. I'll tell you why.
It's not necessary.
I'll tell you why. Stop. So the problem. This is the problem, sir. This is the problem. I hear you, but you refuse to hear me.
Then you play politics.
I hear you, but you refuse to hear me. So understand one thing, I'm not playing politics. Your ally has had a press conference calling the foreign policy statements of the Manmohan Singh, of the Narendra Modi government, Jumla. Right? These are the words used by your ally. Point 1. Point 2, when Manmohan Singh said that I really look forward to meeting Nawaz Sharif and starting new beginnings, he forgot that just a couple of weeks before that, 5 Indian soldiers had been ambushed in Poonch. He spoke of new beginnings and looking forward and putting Jammu and Kashmir on the negotiating table after soldiers were killed in Poonch. The response of this government is markedly different. That is what I'm talking. This is
a team from Pakistan into the Air Force base in Pathankot with an ISI representative in that team. Please don't.
One second. Just one minute. Here's a question to you. This is the first time that India has gone to the international community at the 1 second. Pavan Verma, listen. The problem with you is you make your point. When you realize I'm going to counter you factually, you heckle me. Not appropriate. Not appropriate. Now, 1 second. Debate is open, sir. Debate is open. Seshadri Chari is responding. Seshadri Chari, please.
Arnab, I think, I'm not going into the factual aspect of what Ambassador Pavan Verma has just mentioned. But I would still agree on one thing. If at all we have to compare, I think instead of comparing this speech with what Dr. Manmohan Singh spoke, I think the most immediate comparison would be what the Pakistani Prime Minister spoke just 3 days back in the UN Assembly. And then if you compare Sushma Swaraj's speech with that speech, I think she has come off absolutely very well. It's a momentous speech, a monumental one. And she has touched upon almost everything. She has addressed the international audience, she has addressed the Indians, and more importantly, by speaking in Hindi, by choosing to speak in Hindi, although she can speak very well in English, by choosing to speak in Hindi, don't forget that her speech has been very closely followed by a very large section of the Pakistani people also. So by speaking in Hindi, she has addressed to the Pakistani people and to the Hindi speaking people and also to the Indian audience that whatever action we have to take as far as the army is concerned, the perpetrators of terror are concerned, the so-called non-state actors are concerned, it is our prerogative and we do not require the permission of the United Nations or the United States or China or any country in the world. We can do it, but where we require the intervention of the United Nations and all the 194 odd countries is the Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism, which India proposed in 1996 and which has been held up amongst others mainly by opposition by countries like the United States also. And that is why she raised this issue of international global terrorism.
So that's fine.
Terrorism is no longer India is alone the terrorist, victim of terrorist countries, but the terrorism has been equally haunting all the capitals of the world. Almost every capital of the world every country in this world is affected by terrorism. So that is the point that she has very, very vocally put into the international arena.
Fine. No.
And I think from that point of view, this is a good speech.
No, 1 second. The question is this. The question is this. Pavan Verma, listen, a simple point here today. 2 days ago, just 2 days back, you tore into the government's policy towards Pakistan saying it lacks strategic coherence and strategic clarity. My question to you, sir, is, and if you would like to review what you said, you can have a right to, if you want to still believe that there is a lack of strategic coherence and clarity, please tell me, in the light of Sushma Swaraj's hard-hitting speeches at the UNGA, which is calling for the global isolation of Pakistan, do you or do you not, and please don't try and slip out of this question, can you any longer accuse the centre of a wishy-washy approach towards Pakistan? Please, sir, address my question squarely. That question goes to you, to Atul Kumar Anjan, Sudhindra Bhadoria, but I'll start with you because I remember your words quite clearly. I can quote them if you wish.
And I remember them too.
Yes, I can quote them to you, sir, if you wish.
And let me answer your question now that you made your question.
Yes.
And my answer is simple. I completely maintain my point of view that the nation at large in the last 2.5 years has been searching to understand what is this government's policy towards Pakistan. And today I have already said
Seshadri,
that I
Chari,
give
Maroof.
3 pluses to Sushma Swaraj ji, and I want to say that we will judge what the government does as a follow-up to the speech by the actions that they demonstrate, on which I have an exceptionally objective and open mind. I am not predisposed to criticize for the sake of criticizing.
No, because besides saying we will judge the actions, you're not coming with any specifics. I take this discussion forward. Sudhindra Bhadoria. Sudhindra Bhadoria wants to come in. Atul Kumar Anjan.
Opposition.
No. Fine. We'll have to be factual on things, sir. We'll have to be factual. Sudhindra Bhadoria is on the debate. Maroof. Sudhindra Bhadoria.
Yeah.
What's Sudhindra Bhadoria? Mr. Bhadoria.
My point is, when we look at terrorism in the national all India context, we have to look that there is terrorism growing on the northwest side of India as well on the northeast side of India. While Uri was taking place, the Chinese intrusion was there in Arunachal Pradesh as well. Why India is silent? And I can tell you that this foreign policy does not start with Mohan Singh and end with Modi. If you see Krishna Menon, he pursued aggressive foreign policy towards Pakistan, not against China.
So are you a bit confused?
And the result was,
the problem is, Mr. Bhadoria,
took place.
Mr. Bhadoria, I know, Mr. Bhadoria, listen, be objective. Be objective, Mr. Bhadoria. Let's be objective. Are you taking a predetermined position because of the position taken by Mayawati, or are you confused about how to respond to the Sushma Swaraj?
No, we have to have a holistic approach.
No, this word holistic, coherent, you see, both you and Pavan Verma are using words like holistic, coherent, etc., but you're not specifying. So, but you're not specifying. Sushant, Sareen, Maroof, Raza on the debate. No, Sushant, Sareen and Maroof, Raza. Please specify. I would like one of you to specify. Atul Kumar Anjan.
I can give you more examples.
Atul Kumar Anjan. I'm coming to you, Mr. Pavan Verma. I'm coming to you, Mr. Pavan Verma. Don't worry about it. Mr. Pavan Verma, my question to you is, since you're dying to come into the debate, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. No, we won't let you off so easily. In the light of the External Affairs Minister having openly slammed Pakistan for shielding and breeding terror on its soil and funding its activities, can you, Mr. Pavan Verma, any longer say that the government foreign policy of Pakistan lacks a muscular approach? This is what you did. I remember the date. You were on the Newshour, September 19th, 2016, after the Uri attack. You said the government foreign policy on Pakistan lacks the muscular approach. You had written the government off. Do you still say that? Do you still believe it lacks a muscular approach? Mr. Pavan, don't escape the question a second time. These were your words?
No.
Would you like me to quote you a little bit more?
Quick answer. No, please quote me exactly, because you know I'll stand by what I said and I can defend it. The point is very simple. I would recommend to you, Arnab, that while we appreciate the speech made by Sushma Swaraj, don't immediately jump to the premature conclusion, which you are inclined to do, as to say that this government has now devised completely and in all measure a coherent, cohesive policy with strategic clarity. We are going to wait and watch, because we have seen enough flip-flops in the past. And therefore, we are watching and waiting as the nation is. And we are watching with interest and support. This is not a matter of partisan politics.
It was
alone.
yesterday.
In the
It
past,
was yesterday.
We have asked the questions. We asked the questions. Why did Uri happen so quickly after Pathankot? Was there intelligence
Mr. Verma, Maroof wants to...
Armies needs upgrading.
Mr. Verma, you see, are you trapped with your own responses? And has the response of the government sort of circled you?
You are trapped with your own point of view.
No, Mr. Verma, you have still 5 more minutes. I know you have another appointment, but 1 second before that. It was yesterday, for your information, Mr. Verma, that your party claimed the Prime Minister's speech in Kerala was disappointing when you said, and I quote you, the whole nation was looking forward to the announcement of a new direction, but the Prime Minister has disappointed. Now, are you somewhere indulging in criticism for criticism's sake? You are aware of the position taken on the Indus Waters Treaty? No, you are aware of the position taken by the government on the Indus Waters Treaty?
I did not make that statement, and I want to
KC Tyagi is from your party, sir. KC Tyagi is your party leader. Would you disown him on the program? Would you disown him on the program?
No. First of all...
So I'm only giving you instances. Sushant, Sareen, Maroof, Raza on the debate.
I have not heard what KC Tyagi said. But I think the line that the Prime Minister took
Arnab,
of saying that Pakistan exports terror and we export software was a correct line.
Sushant Sareen.
Arnab, I don't think there was anything wrong in the speech. I think it was a very, very forceful speech, no doubt about that. And I would go along with all the observations which Mr. Pavan Verma has made about the speech. All that is perfectly fine. I just have a bit of a question mark over when Seshadri Chari says that the Pakistanis would have understood the speech. I think they would have got the drift of the speech, but the Hindi which was being used, I don't think would have gone down very well with the Pakistanis. They would have just got the drift. But the important point is this. The important point is that the approach which you are talking about is very clear. The context is also different, but the approach is very clear. And of course, Uri has been a bit of a breaking point as far as the government is concerned. But the question which Mr. Pavan Verma raises is a valid question, that with this approach, what are going to be the building blocks of this new tough policy towards Pakistan, number one, and how long is this approach going to sustain? Because when the summer comes or the spring comes, we have an Indo-Pak spring, as we have had for the last 70 years, that seasons change, policy changes, then I'm afraid all this is just so much of verbiage. So I would really hope that if the government is really serious and now wants to punish the Pakistanis, then they will put in place all those building blocks. Otherwise, it's just empty words. And this is a debating shop.
Just 1 minute. Sushant, can you tell me the specific reason why you believe that this is going to end with a great deal of warmth vis-a-vis Pakistan with this government?
I don't know. I hope it doesn't. See, that's what I'm saying. I hope it doesn't, because that's been the past record. We had Mr. Atul Bihari Vajpayee promising Aar-Paar ki ladai and then extending his hand of friendship. You know, we've had so many of these instances that 3 months, 6 months is the maximum we stay. And the Pakis know it. The Pakis have factored it in.
But that was the Manmohan Singh government.
All this tough talk is going to normally does not last beyond 6 months. Yeah. Because all sorts of pulls and pressures come in. You want to hear Ghulam Ali, you want to see some Pakistani.
But you must accept. 1 second. You must accept. Sushant, 1 minute.
Allow me to make 1 point. I think it's very important. Allow me to make 1 point, please. Just 1 point. Just 1 point, which is that, look, we are looking for costless options. There is no costless option in this. Every option you exercise will extract a price from us. Are we willing to pay that price? If we are, then prepare the people and pay the price and punish the guys. Otherwise, let's not talk about it.
For the moment. Consider this today. We'll talk about the Indus Waters Treaty at 10 p.m. tonight, and you know that the position of the government on the Indus Waters Treaty taken today is not a position taken by any government, including when the left parties were backing the Manmohan Singh government. They're very happy carrying on with the Indus Waters Treaty. We're not talking about that tonight. I expect some honesty on this debate tonight. And I expect honesty from two men who, for all the things I disagree with them, I still consider them extremely honest, and that is Atul Kumar Anjan and DP Tripathi. So Atul Kumar Anjan, be honest today and say that if you were to contrast this speech with the speech of the person who you were supporting at one time as Prime Minister of India, Dr. Manmohan Singh, then you would find a major contrast between the meek approach of Manmohan Singh and the line of this government. Atul Kumar Anjan, please stand away from your own political biases and look at the position taken. I showed you Manmohan Singh's speech. Please.
At the very outset, Arnab, I want to say you are a biased person and you speak in a biased manner. That is my observation. But anyway, those who are the twister of truth, with whom I have to deal, and I have to talk to that very clearly. Today I have to discuss what Madam Sushma Swaraj has spoken as an Indian Foreign Minister. She has spoken many points that has to be analyzed, and we have to go back 2 days back what Prime Minister Narendra Damodar Das Modi has been speaking or had said in Kozhikode. We have to put together all these speeches.
No, did Manmohan Singh ever mention Balochistan?
No. Before that. No. Just let us stop. Manmohan Singh is a past case. Let us discuss the present case. And last 3-4 days and 7-8 days, the jingoism, which has been brought in different form in the media, in television. And I am telling you, now everybody is saying, very good speech by the Prime Minister, very sophisticated thing. Now let us wage a war against the unemployment and all that. And today, again, the Foreign Minister has made something, and they said that we will isolate that. Let us wait for some time. What the world.
So you're avoiding. One second. So I'll tell you one thing. I tell you one thing. I don't understand.
I am not avoiding. Who is afraid of you avoiding you? Should I avoid you?
Atul Anjan.
I'm not afraid of avoiding you.
Atul Anjan.
I'm speaking on my behalf. I speak very frankly, and I know what your Times of India writes and what Times Now says. There is difference between that, but what Atul Kumar Anjan says,
there should be. What's the problem with that?
Says,
I have my views.
That way.
I have my views. What's your problem with that?
I
expect my. This is not the CPIM.
I say.
1 second.
You are not honest.
1 second.
No.
You tell me today, Sir Atul Kumar Anjan. This is wasting time.
This is not the way. This is not the way of making a debate lively. This is not a way to make a debate lively.
Atul Anjan, I am asking you one simple question. I don't know why you're getting so
upset. I am saying it. Why you are attacking before that? Before you
Atul Anjan,
why you attack the president? At the present time, why you attack?
Atul Anjan, listen. Atul Anjan, listen here. Atul Anjan, listen here.
Don't try to be Kanhaiya Lal all the time.
Please, sir, restrain yourself. I am asking you a question contrasting Manmohan Singh's line and the line taken by Sushma Swaraj and the Narendra Modi government today. There's a contrast.
Today there is no point of discussing Manmohan Singh. We are in a new situation. If you want to contrast, let us talk what he has Sushant said. Aar-paar ki ladai what Atal Bihari Vajpayee said. Aur baksha nahi jayega by Narendra Modi. What happened? हाथ भी नहीं मिलाया और इधर बात भी नहीं हुई. तो ये सारे सवाल देश के सामने हैं. जो गुजर गया उसे छोड़ो. आज की स्थिति देखो क्या हो रहा है उसके सामने. अभी देश और दुनिया को दोनों लोगों की स्पीच के बारे में सोचने और समझने का मौका दीजिए. लेकिन आप तो देश का एजेंडा आप व्याकुल भारत है.
Atul Anjan, you know what, Atul Anjan, you're not going to go unrebutted in case you think you're going to go unrebutted. You will be responded on everything. You stop making your speeches, Atul Anjan, and listen to me. I was polite to you for so long. सुनिए मैं तो डिबेट का एजेंडा चला रहा हूं, आप देश का एजेंडा चला रहे हैं. आप थोड़ा सोचिए. My question to you is this, Atul Kumar Anjan, remember this. Pakistan has time and again raised the issue of human rights violations in Jammu and Kashmir. Why didn't Manmohan Singh even once at the UNGA utter the words Balochistan? Not once. Can you answer that? Second question. Now listen to me. You have crossed the limit and you will not go unrebutted. Narendra Modi raised Balochistan during his Independence Day speech, during his speech in Kozhikode, and now India has officially raised it at the UNGA. Why was this counter completely missing from the UPA invoking human rights violations in Pakistan? Why were you quiet on that then? Now, why were you quiet on that then?
By this discussion.
1 second. Why were you quiet? If Seshadri Chari wants to respond respond, he can. 1 second, Atul Kumar Anjan. Now listen to me further. Now listen to me further. Now listen to me further, Atul Kumar Anjan. If I am showing you, if I am telling you today that in 2009 your government...
You are trying to dictate today itself.
Atul Anjan.
What's the sort of that?
Atul Anjan. Atul Anjan.
Why you are so
Atul Anjan. Seshadri Chari is on the left. 1 second, Atul Anjan. 1 second, Atul Anjan. Atul Anjan, you are uncomfortable today.
Foreign Minister has made
you are uncomfortable
Let there
today.
Be a world understanding what people reply.
You are uncomfortable today.
How the world leaders reply.
Sir, you are uncomfortable today. Admit it, because there has been a sea change in the discourse.
No.
That's why you're uncomfortable. Don't show it so much on air. Seshadri Chari. Seshadri Chari.
There is a very small intervention I want to make. I know there are so many other points of this particular speech of Mrs. Sushma Swaraj which we have to discuss, and there are so many other points also, but I am just going to make 3 very brief points. See, the most important element of this speech, for the first time in 70 years, Pakistan has raised the Kashmir issue on the United Nations platform year after year after year after year, in spite of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru himself offering a no-war declaration on 1st October 1950. You can take the copy of Times of India 1st October 1950 and see the headline of Times of India on 1st October 1950 says, Nehru offers no war declaration to Pakistan. And Pakistan put that declaration in the dustbin and said, we want Kashmir and we will raise this issue on every platform, and that is what they have been doing for 70 years. For the first time, India has raised the issue of Balochistan in the United Nations Assembly and made it an international issue. And Balochistan is not just a question of human rights violation. Arnab, please remember, you look at Balochistan not just from the point of view of Pakistan or from the point of view of on the point of view of human rights violation which is there taking place, but more importantly, the way why Balochistan was created was the then British strategists wanted to deny access to the communist Russia to get into international waters through Indian Ocean. And today China is looking at the same thing. China wants to enter and use Balochistan, build Gwadar port, and enter the Indian waters and enter the Indian Ocean region. And those who laid out the red carpet in 1962 for China will never understand this strategy. I am very sorry to say. So let us have a relook, not just at Balochistan and Pakistan, but the strategy that India is working out for the entire region. We have to block the Chinese entry in Gilgit-Baltistan, and we have to block the Chinese exit in Balochistan. So these are some of the issues that we have to raise at the international level. And as far as the army action against army is concerned, we don't require the permission of the United Nations, so we need not raise this issue there. We know how to deal with non-state actors, and we will do it.
India has a right to, Mr. Seshadri, Mr. Chari, India has a right to protect itself.
The point
no, one second.
To protect its boundaries, and every government has a right to make all sorts of strategies to protect our boundaries. That is our considered opinion. Whether it is China, whether it is somebody else or all that, or Pakistan or neighboring countries, we must draw a strategy.
Atulji, it is not just the question of boundary. It is not the question of boundary. America and Afghanistan do not share boundaries.
I understand.
Why is America sitting in Afghanistan?
No, that I understand.
Strategies.
The geopolitical
military strategies.
Changes. How you understand?
And international security
how you can forget
situation does not depend on boundaries. And in any case, remember, Atulji,
how we can think,
and in
how
any case,
we can
remember,
forget
Atulji,
how the Soviet Union came with the veto in support of India. The situation is changing.
Atulji,
I remember.
Also,
I just
let
want
me
to tell
mention
you,
one thing.
there was a time when India was campaigning that China should be made the member of the United Nations, and today we are saying they are in company of many other forces which do not stand with us. That's true.
I agree with you, Atulji. I agree with you. It was first Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who wrote to the United Nations suggesting that instead of making India, please make China the member of the Security Council. I know about it. I am aware of it. And China is not reciprocated to this.
Is there a sense of discomfort? One second. Atul Kumar Anjan. Atul Anjan. One second.
My last point.
One second.
Arnab, my last point.
Yeah.
Arnab, my last point.
Yeah.
My appeal to Mr. Pavan Verma, Mr. Tripathi, and the Congress representative, and even Atul Anjan, Bhadoria ji is, for once, there is nothing wrong if you say that Mrs. Sushma Swaraj's speech was excellent and she has raised the stature of India in the United Nations. If you say that, you will not lose your votes.
DP Tripathi, Atul Kumar Anjan, I think that point is very well taken. You've taken your partisan politics just too far. DP Tripathi, this is not just pointed at you. But the opposition, unfortunately, in the last 8 years has taken partisan politics much too far. What will it take? What if the opposition were to say, Mr. Tripathi, 1 second, Atul Anjan, listen. Atul Anjan, please save your compliments for me. Please save your compliments for me, Mr. Anjan. Mr. Anjan, please. Save your compliments for me. Save your compliments for me. Save your compliment. And you say, Mr. Anjan, you say, 1 second. Mr. Anjan, 1 minute. Mr. Anjan, I must give it back to you on the previous point which you made out there. Atul Anjan, 1 minute. You said today that you are biased. I am telling you, I am biased towards the views of the people in this country on the streets in cities and towns and villages. I don't need to be biased towards my political constituents like you, Mr. Atul Kumar Anjan, so please get that straight from me tonight. I want DP Tripathi to now come into the debate. And my question to DP Tripathi is this. Mr. DP Tripathi, listen here. What are the people of this country pleading for? They are pleading for a sense of political unity. Mr. Tripathi, what is it, if you were to say, that this government has achieved a lot vis-a-vis this issue? We have said no to the Water Commission in a bold move vis-a-vis Pakistan. We put all-round build-up of international pressure on Pakistan. You know the positions of France, Afghanistan and Russia. The world community rejected Pakistan's K card, Kashmir card at the UN. The government openly called Pakistan a terrorist state. We have accepted the asylum application of Brahmda Bukti, the top Baluch leader. Sushma Swaraj in her speech mentioned Baluchistan and advised Pakistan to introspect on Baluchistan rather than playing the hollow Kashmir card. And the Prime Minister today made it very clear he will go far in squeezing water from Pakistan if required, even under the purview of the Indus Waters Treaty. All of this was not done before. Atul Kumar Anjan, there's no point shouting at me. There's no point shouting at me. All of this was not done before.
Swaraj ji has not taken the United Nations, as you are explaining. Everybody knows what she has spoken. Why you are deliberating it in that way?
What will it take for you?
Explain frankly what the question.
What will it take for you to be united at this time?
What question you want to make?
That's my point.
What question you want to ask? Tell me now.
My point is, be specific.
Why don't you talk about the human rights violations in Tibet and also in south of China? Why don't you talk about the violations taking place in Tibet and also in south of China?
I find this incredible. I find this incredible, viewers. I find this incredible. The government is actually, I have political leaders who say, why are you picking about human rights violations in Pakistan and not in China? Well, Mr. Bhadoria, for the simple reason that these terrorist groups are operating out of Pakistan and not out of China. I hope that's a good enough answer for you, sir. One second.
Let me remind.
Seshadri Chari on the other side. This is incredible. Seshadri Chari.
Let me remind.
Seshadri Chari.
Mr.
I don't understand where this is going now.
Do you think
I can understand.
in the north?
Seshadri Chari, please.
Yes.
Seshadri Chari, please let him respond. 1 second, Mr. Chari.
Region of India?
We are prepared to raise the issue of Tibet, but he should also explain. He should explain why Dr. Manmohan Singh refused to even visit Arunachal Pradesh.
Yeah.
Only because the Chinese leadership said that you cannot visit Arunachal Pradesh because it belongs to us. He cancelled his visit.
Question to Manmohan Singh. You ask this question.
So you are telling me that we should have raised the Tibet issue?
And a patriot, and also concerned
We should raise
about
the Tibet
India's
issue?
security. We should.
But you are Prime Minister. I am sorry, I did not want to mention this.
About India's.
I did not want to mention this, Bhadoria ji. I did not want to.
I don't understand why the opposition is upset.
Entire Himalayan region.
I don't understand. Sudhi, one second. Mr. Tripathi, why is the opposition upset? I thought the opposition should be together with the government if it's taken a hard line vis-a-vis Pakistan. Why are so many parts of the opposition leaders looking so upset, qualifying their statements, Mr. Tripathi?
Oh, yeah. Please, I am thankful that you have ultimately allowed me to speak a few words. I always follow this discipline of a debate. I speak only when I am asked to speak. Now let me make a couple of points. First, about the speech. The speech of Sushma Swaraj is not merely excellent, it is effective. And it is not merely a statement of a government, it is a statement of the nation. See, that is how I would rate the speech. Furthermore, why I admire the speech is that she uses hard words, but she doesn't use hot words. Unusual belligerence does not reflect a great and responsible nation's voice. She has spoken the voice of the responsible great Indian nation, which speaks in a measured voice. And this is not a juncture, Arnab, where we should take partisan positions. I am in the opposition, but I will be with the government in dealing with with Pakistan.
Is Mayawati taking a partisan position?
That I have always
Is Sitaram Yechuri taking a partisan position? Is the Congress taking a partisan position?
No.
So who's taking a partisan position?
No, I don't think. On basics, they have all agreed. Basics. No, I'm not saying, I said at this juncture, don't take partisan position. Nation is united. Look at the all-party delegation that went to Kashmir. They spoke in one voice.
Sorry, sir. The activities of the all-party delegation and its members did not reflect the views of the people of this country.
Internal security. Let me make my point here. Let me make my point. Then you question. Should I make my point or keep quiet?
I think you should.
The choice is yours.
Please go ahead.
Go on.
Please.
See, my point was, I said it in Parliament also, internal security and defense is never managed by sitting on the fence. You have to take positions, and positions means you have to implement policies. Therefore, is strategic restraint that the government has shown is most welcome. It should not be misunderstood as a strategic passivity, as many people are talking about. However, we are in the opposition, therefore, when we say but, despite all this, but is voice of democracy. It is not a rifle but, as I told the BJP spokesman just 1 hour ago. This but is important because there are certain constructive suggestions which have been made about the implementation of certain policies regarding Pakistan. As far as, Arnab, your comparison of Manmohan Singh's speech and Sushma Swaraj's speech, I think you would agree with me that every text has its context. Therefore, that kind of comparison, especially at this juncture,
why not?
To me,
so why not? So why not? So absolutely not. So I disagree with you. I disagree with you. The context was. So one minute. No, sir. Allow me. Allow me. The context was.
The context was different. I can explain
to you.
So
the context was that when Manmohan Singh spoke at the UNGA.
I will tell you one sentence.
So when Manmohan Singh.
Just one sentence. Just one sentence. Please listen to me. One sentence. One sentence I'm saying. Don't compare. It did not. Manmohan Singh's speech was not made in the context of continuous, almost immediate attacks.
Sir, sorry, it was.
So you can imagine
what kind of
situation is today.
Sir, I'm sorry, it was. No, it was. It was. Sir, I'm sorry, you're factually incorrect, sir. Sir, you're factually incorrect. I'm sorry. Sir, 2013, we were at the fag end of a series of terrorist attacks from Pakistan and a series of terror incidents, attacks on our soldiers. In fact, I'd like to inform you that when Manmohan Singh was talking about new beginnings with Nawaz Sharif in 2013, and he kicked that off by meeting Nawaz Sharif the next day in New York. That happened despite 5 Indian soldiers being killed in Poonch just weeks before that. So there was a specific context. Let us not avoid that. I know it will not please you. It will certainly not please Atul Kumar Anjan to tell the reality. But that is the reality.
Well,
that is the reality.
Then allow me to say, please. Allow me to say one thing. Allow me to say one thing, Arnab.
Arnab, may I come in?
Saying that, then I will go according to your terms and conditions, and I am telling you something. I am telling you, I am stating certain fact, which kindly listen to me. Some fact. Very briefly, one fact I am stating. 26/11 happened during Manmohan Singh's time. It never recurred again. And what happened after Pathankot? Immediately Uri happens under this regime. And you are comparing Manmohan Singh with this regime, which is incorrect according to me. Irrelevant. Please don't do this.
Sir, I'm sorry. It's very relevant. Foreign policy does not happen in a vacuum. Foreign policy is always continuous. Since you feel that the comparison is not appropriate, I'll bring Maroof, Raza into this before I wrap up this part of the debate. 1 second, Mr. Bhadoria. Mr. Bhadoria, please calm down.
You see, now, Mr. Vajpayee and Sushma Swaraj welcomed.
Sir, for once.
In Agra, the same Sushma Swaraj and Atal Bihari Vajpayee welcomed Musharraf in Agra. And what happened after that? So let us also take the larger context. Why only Manmohan Singh and Mr. Modi?
So it appears to me today that a softer speech by Sushma Swaraj would have given you more legroom. I want Maroof to come into the debate before I'm closing, and I have a big political story tonight. Ram Madhav is joining me in a couple of minutes. Maroof.
We welcome every effort to isolate Pakistan on the issue of
Maroof, this government's foreign policy vis-a-vis the previous governments in the context of Sushma Swaraj's speech. Yes, please, Maroof.
Yeah, Arnab, I'd request all the senior politicians now to give me a few minutes, because I've been quiet for 55 minutes. I've been looking at my watch. Now, I just want to make 3 or 4 points. The first is, I think what Ms. Swaraj has done, she has very clearly defined the contours of where India's policy with Pakistan is now going to go. If my memory stands correct, this is the first time that India has taken it upon itself to name and shame Pakistan at the United Nations on cross-border terrorism, when earlier these issues were raised sometimes bilaterally, sometimes with an odd country like the United States or the EU. So this is a defining moment. The second thing we need to understand is that this government, as in all past governments, suffers the baggage of bureaucracy. And the bureaucracy's line all these years in South Block and North Block had been that there is room for negotiating with Pakistan across the table. And it is not 18 soldiers who died in Uri or 5 who died in Poonch years ago that should have defined our position. In the 26 years, more than 26,000 soldiers and citizens of India by our own count have been killed because of Pakistan-sponsored terror. So I think there is a threshold of patience which this country has lost. As far as Mr. Bhadoria's point that why don't we talk about Tibet and why don't we talk about Chinese intrusions on the LAC and in the Tawang area, the point to understand, sir, is it would be very unwise for India or any other country to open up 2 strategic fronts. So therefore, let us deal with the immediate problem till we consolidate it before we open the next front. And cross-border movement.
The times of Mr.
Bhadoria, you may be a politician, but show me some courtesy. I have kept quiet. No, Mr. Bhadoria, I don't give a hoot who you are. You learn to keep quiet because I kept quiet when you were talking. And give me the courtesy, and give me the courtesy of 1 minute. All I'm saying, when soldiers intrude the border, it is not an act of terror. It is when you kill people, it is an act of terror. Please understand, terrorism is different from cross-border movement of troops. We've had that for ages. But we've not lost soldiers. Here we've lost soldiers by a calculated, planned attack from Pakistan. So therefore, I don't think just for the sake of opposing
You should oppose and draw bizarre comparisons. Please draw logical comparisons and then we can discuss. You are just trying to show to your maybe those people who wish a certain voice from the opposition that there is another point of view. At this point of view, the nation wants a new Pakistan policy, and I think we are seeing the contours of that. So I think it will be in the interest of everybody to go, and I do agree with what Mr. Sushant Sareen said and also some other distinguished politicians said, that let us see how it unfolds. Yes, the proof of the pudding lies in eating it, but at least we've taken some strong steps, and for the first time
Atul
named and shamed Pakistan at the international forum and told the world we'll do it with you or without you, but we will address this menace of terrorism because enough is enough.
Atul Anjan, Seshadri, Chari, Sushant, Sareen, DP Tripathi, Sudhindra, Bhadoria and Pavan Verma. Before that, thank you very much.